like to invite Mary McCammon to come forward, who has owned her business. When I met Mary McCammon at Refresh Her Conference, which is hosted annually by Pastor Tina Tatum, absolutely phenomenal, in October of each year. You need to make plans to attend. I think it will be the first week in October, and so mark your calendar somewhere along that line. How's that for memory? And it was just a pleasure. I remember when I spoke and I saw you in the audience, and your face it's just radiant of God's love. I saw it just radiating, and is that the right word? Okay, yes, okay, thank you. From the reporter, that's the right word. But I saw it on your face, and then we connected in a very spiritual sense as well as business. So you take it from here and talk about how you own your business, but you also own your story.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being here, and as every speaker that talks, I'm like, I think we're related. I have so many of the same stories. Mary Beth saying what an introvert she is. I am so introverted, it's not even funny. And since Greg has his earphones on, I'll just tell you, I had surgery on Christmas Eve, and this is only the second time I've worn pants. So, I'm doing really well, but anyway, like Sherry said, I met her at the Refresh Her Conference, and I'll just tell you a little bit about my 2015 was a year of change for me. And actually, when we were in a breakout session at Refresh Her, we had to choose a word that described our year, and mine was just unsettled. And a lot of that is because I'm an empty nester for the first time this year, and while my husband is over there going, yes, I'm not loving it. And I definitely created chaos around me because I didn't want to own my feelings about that. But about mid-year, I was just tired. And I started reading the book, How to Have a Merry Heart in a Dark World, which tied into the Refresh Her. It was just perfect timing. And so after that, and I got Sherry's book, and like she mentioned, I do Rodin and Fields, and it's kind of the same thing as Mary Beth. But what I found out through this was that I had a passion for missions that I never knew existed because I never had the money to do anything like that. So I went there. Jamaica is my place. We built little blue houses. God has just answered prayer about that. After I came back the first time, I said, Lord, if this is what you want me to do and you bless this business, I'm going to not only build houses, I'm going to pay for houses there. And I had my biggest month ever. So it's just been an awesome thing. But because I'm a nurse by trade, been a nurse almost 30 years now, and because I do have a stressful job, I don't have the time to devote to a side business. I have 3 boys in college. I need the money. I have my daughter who had just moved out. But I heard something that Sherry said about social intelligence, and I thought, okay, well, this is an e-commerce business. It's all done online, but I'm not really socially intelligent. You know, I do a few things, so that's kind of what I thought. But then as I got into the book, it was just perfect timing for everything that was going on in my life. Because for me, I always would try to compartmentalize who I am. And I remember telling Shelley Bauer that one of my biggest weaknesses is I just didn't have a clear message. Because depending where I was, what situation, then that's who I was. But Sherry helped me figure out my story it encompasses all of me. It's not just my work, it's not just my career, it's not my family, it's the things that I say just make Mary McCammon tick. So, because I didn't like my feelings about missing my children and all that, that kind of work for me is very tedious. So to have her along was just great because she pulled out things of me that were already there. I just couldn't put them together. So because of that, and she looked to the future, not just where I am now, but where I'm going to be. And that has been something that's so important to me about where God wants me to be and following in that. And I've had a lot of experiences where I thought I needed to be moving on, and God did not release me, so I'm still there. And who knows that God can do so far exceedingly abundantly more than you could ever ask for. most of my life trying to hide my middle name of Ruth. And when I hear somebody say Mary Ruth, it's a nun from Sacred Heart, or where I met Tina, or it's an old family member. But Bernice and I actually worked together and kind of had a falling out. And it was really my fault. And so I owned that. I apologized, and immediately she told me, she said, I'm going to tell you, God had given me a message for you, but I did not know how in the world I was going to deliver it because I didn't even want to talk to you. But out of obedience, she said, God said, this ain't about you, it's about Mary. And I had veered from my path, and she came and got me. So I'm so forever grateful for that. So she's a huge part of my story, and will be part of my future story too as we continue to do ministry together. So I love that Sherry helped me find my words, and that's marketplace, mentorship, ministry, and missions. And my whole thing is that my side business allows me to focus on, gives me the freedom, time and financial freedom to focus on the things that bring me fulfillment. One last thing, as I was going through this whole thing, God has been faithful my entire life, and I know that, and I have such a history with Him that I don't ever even question it. But on Christmas Eve, I had surgery, went in, signed a permit, had been told by the radiologist and the emergency room doctor that I had ovarian cancer. So I went in thinking I was coming out with portacath, chemo, a very grim diagnosis. However, I had such a peace about whatever the outcome was. So, but I came out with a totally benign, nobody could explain it, I can explain it, no one could really explain what this 9.5 centimeter tumor was that's now not there, but it was a way of God slowing me down, because just like the Mary in a Martha world, God wants me to have the best, and He's not going to take that from me, but I have to be in agreement to slow down. So during this time, I just had such clarity of where I'm going, what God wants for me, and just